Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast for UFC Macau. Your main event is Piotr I'm Not Allowed in the Country Jan taking on Davison Figueiredo. 3 a.m. Eastern Time start, 6 a.m. on the main card for all you diehard boys and girls. I'll be watching this I'll be watching probably the last 3 or 4 fights live I'll be up for, then watching the replay from there. But regardless, we got some DraftKings lineups and strategies to attend to. I'm Sniper. That's Monk, who has internet, thank God. So I don't have to break this down solo. Monk, how you doing?
We were close. It was like, wait, don't start without me. Okay, if you need to. And then it came on at the last second. So yeah, I would not want to do this card either. Glad to be here with you. I think this is one of 3 cards remaining on the year, guys. So we're going to try to find some value here. We got 13 fights. Lots of no names, but we'll try to navigate the waters here a little bit.
Well, I mean, I know DFS Army members and me especially. I mean, personally, on a heater had the nuts 2 weeks ago. We talked about it last week. I had the second nuts this week, and only 2 people had the nuts lineups, and they both put in over. They both maxed out. I put in 10. Some other DFS Army guys did too, and yeah, took home another 4,000 last week. So back-to-back takedowns for us at DFS Army. I posted screenshots everywhere, but if you want to join DFS Army, because we had a whole Q&A session in the Discord I did live. I dropped some extra notes where I basically said late in the week after this podcast, we were debating on the podcast, is it Hoofy? Is it Jones? Is it this? And I basically said, I'm going to end up locking in John Jones. That worked out pretty well. Really, it got solidified when I watched Mike Tyson, and I was like, oh yeah, Stipe's that old. What am I doing? And I stopped overthinking a little bit, and we ended up, taking down pretty much everything. A bunch of helmets up. So if you want access to all that stuff down below, I think I'm up to 6,000 or 7,000 the last 2 weeks or so, and now we get this card, which is challenging. Challenging all around. There are a couple decent fights mixed in here. I know I was very critical of the 309 card last week, the main card, and I think deservedly so. I think it kind of, the co-main was fire. The main is what we thought it was going to be. The nickel didn't
pay off.
It's a bunch of just kind of okay. There are some really low level fights on this card, but there are some sneaky good fights on this card. Like I'm interested. Like, for example, the real main event on this card is Volkan Ozdemir and Carlos Ulberg. That is a fantastic fight that I am all about and ready to watch. And it's like the second fight in the main card, which is weird. But regardless, that being said, if you didn't already, guys, smash the like button. Share with your friends. We're going to break everything down, all 13 fights on this card, and talk some DraftKings strategy. So let's pull up the UFC Macau lineup here. I do want to start by telling you that we do have a fight cancellation. I don't even think the salaries are posted on DraftKings, but just in case you see it anywhere, Jai Bin and Kang Ji Zhu, that fight is off. That's one of the UFC Road to UFC tournament finals, so there'll be no late notice replacement here. They're going to reschedule this fight. It is canceled. We're on a 13-fight card. That being said, we can jump right into the first fight of the card. We got Mahashete taking on Nicholas Mata. By the way, I think I got these names. I mean, there are some hard names on this card. I think I'm going to be doing all right here. I'm not too intimidated. Now, you give me Portuguese names and I shit my pants. I can't really explain it, but I can handle some of these. So feel free to drop a comment. Let me know how good or terrible I'm handling.
There's a couple I'm waiting for.
So we will see. All right, Mahashete is minus 205. Nicholas Mata plus 175. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 200. There are some good fights to target and some real shit ones too. There's a lot of real shit fights to target on this card for DFS. So when you get a good one, I know we're first out. That's why I wanted to call it out. There's not a ton that are like this. Minus 200 to see a finish. Your DraftKings salaries on this one, Mahashete is 8,700. Nicholas Mata is 7,500. Monk, I think your internet's still firing up. I'll go first this week. Like I said, it is a solid one to target. And Nicholas Mata is really what makes this fight great to target because he is kill or be killed. He also kind of sucks. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to target Mahashete it is not an all-in fight. It's a GPP priority fight because at this price, if Nicholas Mata wins, likely he's going to get a finish. And obviously with the odds, either one finishes. But there are some scenarios. Mahashate isn't like some savage killer himself. He's good. He's solid all around. He's an all right UFC fighter, and Mata probably isn't UFC level. But there are paths here where I don't think Mahashate pays off and ends up on the optimal. It's not like Chandler Oliveira last week where like the winner of this fight's going to be on the optimal. Just play it. It's a good one to target. I have a couple all-in fights. This isn't one of them. I do think Mahashate is better, but it's a high variance fight. And there are a few of those on this card, but this is one of the high variance fights that can score well. Monk, how about for you?
I'll go a little bit, more interest than you. I do have this as a 5-star fight. I think I called it basically all in because these are two strikers. We're not going to see any grappling here. I think these guys have 32. Where did it go? 32 pro fights. Only twice have they been to the scorecards. Both were Mahashate and both were in the UFC. That said, these guys have some of the worst defense of all time. I've been working on my new rankings. I'm giving everybody like Madden style rankings for every single category. And the long and the short of it is that Mata is in the 3rd percentile overall all time for striking defense. The 3rd percentile. That is just awful.
You have everybody ranked?
Everyone.
So what is John Jones' score for domestic violence? Is he like a 99 percentile?
That's got to be like a 99. I mean, he's up there with Uncle Dana for sure. That's why they got to stick together. Yeah, but Mahashate is not too much better. He's in the 9th percentile. So he's been KO'd. He's been he got hit 3.2 strikes a minute against Rafa Garcia. I'll only add to that is Nicholas Mata's strength of victory is much, much lower than Mahashate's, who's his pretty much run-of-the-mill. Mata's only beaten Tom Nolan, who was his first fight in the UFC for Nolan, and I think he had like 6 or 8 fights total, and Cameron Van Camp. So, yeah, nobody has defense, 2 heavy strikers that like to come forward and make mistakes. I'd be shocked if this one finds the 3rd round. I'm more interested in Mahashate, but get these guys in your lineups.
All right, let's move on and let's talk Long Zhao and Kong Lee. Zhao is the favorite at minus 125. Comeback on Kong Lee is plus 102. Fight goes to decision minus 170. Your DraftKings salaries here. This is the mid-range fight. Zhao is 8,200. Kong Lee is 8,000. Monk, what you got?
Both of these guys I think they were in the last tournament, Road to the UFC tournament. I don't remember, but they've each had one UFC fight. Zhao Long fought Cheng Ho Lee, who was also in the tournament, beat him by split decision and got outscored even with the bonus. He scored 61.97, Long did, and his opponent Cheng Ho Lee scored 64 and he lost. So yeah, we did see 4.5 strikes per minute from Long, 2 takedowns, little pedestrian control time, but still nothing significant whatsoever. And he got hit with 5.6 strikes a minute in that fight. Quang Lee had a very different opponent in his debut. It was Chris Gutierrez. Now, Gutierrez isn't out here, putting people down unless you're Frankie Edgar. In fact, I don't know if he's knocked anyone out since that fight. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. But what you don't want to do against Chris Gutierrez is stand there and get leg kicked and do nothing, basically, which is what Quang Lee did. 1 strike per minute is what he threw. 2 takedowns landed and really no control time. So I guess I'm more interested in Zhao Long because of his output for sure. But that said, this is basically a coin flip fight. I'm not interested in it for cash, and I'll be pretty pedestrian when it comes to ownership and GPPs. I'll have a little of both sides, but I mean, maybe a bit more Zhao Long because, like I said, the potential output. But yeah, I think it's a pretty run of the mill fight here. And the only thing I'll add to that is this one was plus 140 to finish, so I'm probably not too far off from Vegas there.
Yeah, I prefer Kong Lee, and it's mostly because so the road to UFC final fights and some of these low level ones, there actually tends to be grappling, and whoever the better wrestler is the one I'm targeting. It's going to be a consistent theme over the next few fights. And in this case, I believe Kong Lee is the better the better grappler. I think he can get takedowns. I don't think Long Jiao could especially get up. That being said, I don't think Kwang Lee's going to like spam takedowns. I think this is, even though it's a mid-range fight, it's not one I want a lot of. There's quite a few fights I'm going to say that about, but this is up there with one of them. It's the only fight I could say definitively is worse to target than this one is the Dong Hun Choi and Kairu Saota fight.
Yep.
And then
Agreed.
like that one's terrible. And I don't really like the Feng Xiaocan and Shi Ming fight, but I mean, there's a lot of dumpster fires around here, and those are some of them. This is right up on that list in terms of dumpster fires.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Kwang Lee, and I'll move on. And let's talk about Lonair Kavanaugh and Jose Ochoa. Kavanaugh, minus 450. Sorry, right now is minus 355. Comeback on Ochoa is plus 280. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 150. So a decent one to target here. This is not one of the aforementioned dumpster fires.
Mm-hmm.
Kavanaugh, though, 9,400. Ochoa is 6,800. Look, Ochoa is undefeated. He's never seen a decision. And I actually think he's a decent dog here. The problem is it's decent dog and like I think he's a decent fighter. Kavanaugh looks to be a real prospect though. The Cage Warrior product. Like I think he's a legit prospect. Also can get finishes, can grapple. He probably's got one of the higher ceilings in the 9K range this week, which is something we're going to talk about in terms of GPPs for ceiling, because up in that range, you got the aforementioned get the main event, which I don't love, but we're going to get there. Piotr Yan, Zhang Minyang, who I'm picking against. I'm picking the $7,100 fighter. It's just, where do you get ceiling on this card? I think he's up there. This is probably the highest inside the distance prop fight in the 9K range, other than Ming Yang and Diaz that we're going to talk about. Good one to target. Think he's better, can grapple. Both guys like to finish, can get finishes. I just think Ochoa is a decent prospect. So really, this is a GPP fight for me, in which I'm probably going to end up overweight to both sides. Monk, what do you got?
I agree. Big GPP fight this one. As a stat guy, I only have one fight worth of stats for Mr. Kavanaugh. He was on the DWCS and got a KO in 2.5 minutes. He also, I think, was the one that fought. One of these guys fought in Cage Warriors. The other one fought in the LFA. I think Ochoa has one fight in the LFA, if I'm not mistaken. And then
Kavanaugh's Cage Warriors.
Kavanaugh has a few in Cage Warriors for sure. So definitely the more experienced fighter. Both guys are 7-0, but I agree with you there. Kavanaugh looks to be more polished, more experienced. He has been to decision twice, but these guys have 11 to 12 finishes between them in 14 fights. So love this for GPPs. You know, when it comes down to, I hate doing this, but you know, this guy's a minus 350, 450, probably for a reason. So I'm going to have more of him rostered than Ochoa. That's probably not hard to figure out why. But that said, I will have some Ochoa there for sure. Because they, like I said, these two guys both look like scrappers, man. So definite GPP fight here at 6,800 for the dog. Definitely have some shares of him. I'm not going crazy with Kavanaugh. He is a debutant with less than 10 fights. But you should have a good piece of this fight for sure. And I'm on the Kavanaugh side. Yeah,
one of the more exciting prelims on the card. So as you mentioned, the Jaibin Kang Ji-Ju fight is canceled, so that takes us to Carlos Hernandez and Naim Jargo, Tumen Dembarel.
Wow, that was really good.
I guess I'm part Mongolian. I don't know. It just makes it's one of those things I just see just doesn't. The syllables make sense in my brain.
I don't know if it was right, but it sounded good. That's for sure.
Dembarel. I mean, that's how I've heard it.
Tumen Dembarel.
So Carlos Hernandez is the favorite though, minus 190. But now I'm going to stutter on it. You killed me. Tumen Dembarel is plus 165 because I tried to say his first name for whatever reason.
Yeah,
that's the instinct. The hard last name. Let's go to the first name. Oh fuck. Hernandez is 8,600. Tumen Dembarel is 7,600. Your fight goes to decision is minus 150. This is the fourth fight. So, Monk, that means you're first.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about. Well, I do. Carlos Hernandez is relatively unimpressive. He's 2-3 in the UFC so far. Won his debut fight against Altamirano and beat Dennis Bondar. So we're not really talking about the cream of the crop in the flyweight division. In fact, the
That's a nice way to say that.
strength of victory is quite pathetic. That's a meaner way to say it. It's very pathetic. That said, the guys that he loses to are pretty fucking good. Ray Saruya, Alan Nascimento, and Tatsuro Taira. Obviously, we're not all on the same tier there, with Taira being at the top, but yeah, so he's not losing to Dennis Bondar. That said, Tumen Demberol, there we go, 8-0 in professionally. He's got 2 tournament fights. His nickname's Art of Knockout, but don't let that fool you. He has 5 submissions. 5 out of his 8 wins are submissions. And he just had one. And he subbed Peter Daneso. I don't know if I'm saying that right. In 1 minute. So anytime you see a 1 minute sub, that is extremely impressive, because unlike a knockout, generally it takes a few seconds to get into position. So I don't know, man. I think I picked Hernandez. I am not confident. This is probably a 50-50 fight. Well, maybe. It might not look like it when he gets onto the canvas if Tumen Demberol is legit. So for GPPs, I'll definitely have some of I'll try it again. Tumen Demberol. Not much Hernandez though. He's just unimpressive in his wins. 83 points, 77 points. In his losses, I mean, he put up 0.4 points a minute in 6 minutes against Taira, 1.4 against Saruya, and 0.37 against Alan. Yeah, I'm not really interested in Hernandez. Maybe a little bit because he's fighting a debutante. If he loses, he's probably done. Tumen Demberol, it looks like a setup fight. So give me more of the dog here. In fact, I picked Hernandez on my thing. I might be changing that.
Well, I can try and help that because I am picking Tumen Demberol. Look, Carlos Hernandez, even in his wins, he was taken down by Victor Altamirano. He was taken down 5 times by Daniel Barra. He was taken down twice by Dennis Bondar. Those are his wins. Tumen Demberol, watching tape, can get takedowns. He can get on top. He absolutely can get on top. And actually, he's got you have the Road to UFC stats here. He got, now granted, it was a back and forth grappling match against Tapnoy Kiram, I believe his name is. He had 4 takedowns in that fight. I think it's Daniso, but whatever. He got a takedown. Like, he can get takedowns to set up these submissions, and that's Carlos Hernandez's weak point. Guy who shows he can wrestle, guy who showed he can't wrestle even in his wins. I'm going to take the dog who can wrestle every fucking time. And even if I'm wrong, I still think there's value on it. I'm probably going to pull the trigger on a plus 160 bet on Tumen Demberol, quite honestly. Carlos Hernandez, just like you said, I'll be underweight here. Don't think there's much interest, but it's not a full fade because Tumen Demberol, it is the Asian regional scene, and it's not very good.
Right.
That's what makes some of the Road to UFC stuff hard, because there's quality competition is really hard to gauge. So it's not a full fade in Hernandez, but I do greatly prefer Tumen Demberol. And we'll see. That's the last time we say it. We got to get to the kill shots. I don't know if that'll be the last time we say that. It's possible. I think I'm going to go somewhere else, but he would ease at least my second place play, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about when we're going to get there. Ming Shi, Zhao Kan Feng. Ming Shi is a plus 265 dog. Zhao Kan Feng is a minus 340 favorite. Fight goes to decision, minus 350. Yip-de fucking do. This is going to be super exciting at that price. Get some shithouse female Asian prospects. Yeah. Yay. I mean, look, Ming Shi has spent 15 minutes in the cage in her 2 Road to UFC fights and landed just over 100 strikes. There's not a lot of output. She can be taken down. Zhao Kan Feng, on the other hand, same thing. Not a lot of output, although does have a knockout against Kiran Singh. But I remember watching tape.
She landed 40 strikes in that fight in 2 minutes. Ming Shi landed 38 and 15.
It was yeah, but that's
just
Fang
funny to
sucks
see.
and takedowns, and like it wasn't. It was a whitewash. Like, the fight was 2 minutes long. She was in top control for a minute and a half. Like, he just. And she was taken down 3 times by Miki Motono. So it's neither one of these are very good. Oh, by the way, DraftKings salaries, because I don't think I read them. Fang is 9,200. Ming is 7,000. Honestly, I guess Fang has some game theory and grappling upside. Sure. It's so hard to tell in 9K. They'll probably just be field weight and move around and move about my day. I will say the most appealing thing about this fight, because it's minus 350 to go to decision, and the price tag, the most appealing thing overall is Ming Shi in cash games as a punt to open everything up. It's the most appealing DFS part of this fight, and it's that's all I can say about this horseshit fight. 115-pound shit show women's fight. Just okay. I'll take Fang. I'm moving on. What do you got, Monk?
I don't know if Ming Shi's going to pull off the 7K upset. She's no Viviata Ujo, that's for sure. But we'll see, I guess.
You had to bring that up again. Remember, if Karine Silva doesn't die, I win the big GPP instead of finish third.
That's true.
That was not nice all around.
That was rough.
Would not recommend.
I don't have much else to add other than there's like a 7-year age difference here with Zhao Kan being younger. She did get taken down, but Ming Shi was taken down 5 times total in the tournament. I'll be around field weight. I did mention that I do like Fang a little bit more just because of the possible upside and the fact that Ming Shi has been finished in the past. She's been subbed and she's been KO'd in her 5 losses. So 2 of those 5 losses are finishes. So I don't have much else to add. 9,200 seems like a lot of money, but these 2 debutantes here, I'm willing to take a little bit of a chance. Let me put it like this. Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want to say that. I'll have an okay amount of Zhao Kan, not a ton, and Ming Ji I'm not really interested in, to be honest.
Yeah, let's move on to Kairu Singh Sahota and Donghoon Choi. Sahota is basically pick 'em now, actually. So Choi is the favorite, minus, I don't know, 115. Pick your book. Just call it a pick 'em, minus 115 a piece for Sahota and Choi. Your salaries on this one: Choi is 8,400. Sahota is 7,800. Fight goes to decision is minus 170. Monk, I know you got to be super excited about targeting this one.
Yeah, these are like 2 in a row. I mean, I'm more interested in the previous one than this one, to be quite honest. This might be one of my bigger fades. In fact, I put both as a GBP/fade, which generally I don't do. I don't do that for both fighters, but this one definitely seems worthy. Very pedestrian numbers. I mean, okay volume from both guys. 5.2 strikes a minute, 5.6. Both guys scored like 3 and 4 in their fights before that. A couple of takedowns here and there. The big difference is Sahota was taken down 9 times by Yin Shuai back in May in the first tournament fight, but still got the win. So that is super interesting. All their wins are 70, 60 points. I'm just not very interested in that. What was the let's see, plus 190 to finish inside the distance is one of the wider numbers on the card. Yeah, I'm going to take a chance and just sit this one out, man. Let these guys fight to decision. I think I picked Choi as far as picks go, but I think I put this as a 2-star fight, which is my lowest fight on the card.
It's I don't disagree much with you there. I went ahead and picked Choi. Honestly, I'll be super underweight to both guys. This is my least favorite fight on the card to target. I have it as 1 star. Neither guy goes for takedowns. Neither guy has volume. There's not a ton of knockouts here. On paper, I think Choi's a little better when I watch the fights, but it's not with any real degree of confidence. This is a DFS. I'm going to be staying away, and if it ends in the first 60 seconds, well, I was asleep and didn't know I lost money anyway.
Yeah.
Wake up and have some pancakes and watch the main event.
Exactly.
And count my money from the last 2 weeks if that one ends in the first 60 seconds.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk Bargang Jailese. I think it's Bargang. Bargang. I know it's Jailese.
I'm certainly not going to correct you.
Against Su Young Yu.
Me?
Yeah, you? Me? Yu is minus 145. Jailese is plus 125. Fight goes to decision is minus 150. Your DraftKings salaries here. Yu is 8,300. Jailese is 7,900. I like what I wrote for this one. I actually am going to have a fair amount of you, Monk.
Hey, all right.
I'm gonna read my exact blurb, the notes. I'm gonna be honest. All of these road to UFC final fights are total shit shows and toss ups. This one we get some odds value with minus 145 on you. We do get the 8,300 for minus 145, and well, I'm picking him to win, and he has the highest DFS upside of the road to UFC fights. I'm going to make sure that's right. Hang on. So now I'm thinking of one that... No, yeah. He is the highest upside of any of the UFC, road to UFC final fights because this dude will spam takedowns. We've seen that in his UFC, the road to UFC fights. He had 4 against Shohei Nose, 8 against Hermese Joao Pazzi, whose name I did not look up, so I'm not sure on that one. But goes for takedowns. Jailese can get taken down. He was taken down twice in his last fight. I think Yu is a little bit stronger. I think there's some decent upside here and some DFS upside as well. I'm not saying this is not like a core go 60% on Yu, but I'm going to look at our ownership projections. I'll probably try and get overweight on Yu and slightly under to Jailese. Monk, how about for you?
Yeah, I pretty much agree there. I was impressed with Jailese with 5 takedowns in his last 2. Then I looked across the board and saw 12 for you in his past 2 fights. So very impressed there. Basically, this is a low level, high variance shit show fight. Lots of sloppy grappling transitions, sloppy striking for sure. One of these guys might get finished. This is a 5-star fight this week. Hopefully they either stand and bang sloppily or they somebody gets grappled and finished on the ground pretty early. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm on the U side. Also, his name is Jiu-Jitsu, so that's pretty awesome as well. Can't hate that at all. But yeah, a little bit higher than average ownership. I have a feeling that some of these tournament fights are going to be boring decisions. I have a feeling this one could be the opposite. So a little higher than average for me, and give me you.
I'm a little surprised you had as a 5-star fight. I have this as a 3.
No, I have it as a 4.
Personally. You have 4? Okay.
Yeah.
I have it as a 3. My big ones this week are the main event, just because it's 5 rounds. It's not even that good of a main event for DFS, but I have the main event and the Zhang Minyang Ozzy Diaz fight is the 5 stars.
Yep.
Kavanaugh Ochoa as 4 and Olberg Ozdemir as 4. And Mahashete Mota as 4. And then everything else gets to the dumpster real quick.
I have Kong way high. That fight way high.
Are we up to that fight?
I don't know.
We could be up to it. No, see, you mentioned it. We got a few fights to go. The reason why I don't rank the fight high is because I'm going to full fade Gabriel Fernandez, and Kong Wang is 9,600, and I go, okay, only one side of it. It's probably, I put it as a 3, but it's probably a 3 borderline 4. But I only wanted one side, so
true.
We'll get there. Let's talk about, I would assume, my hottest take of the card is this one, and this one's you first. Good, I get to go second here. Ozzy Diaz, Mingyang Zhang. Zhang is minus 300. Diaz is plus 250. Either way you cut it, best DFS fight on the card to target for GPPs. Minus 240 to end in under 1.5 rounds. Minus 600 to end inside the distance. DraftKings salaries. Zhang is 9,100. Diaz is 7,100. Monk, why is Zhang going to smash Ozzy Diaz?
I don't know. But having the name Osman Diaz is pretty fucking sweet. Just saying that. I mean, it's pretty close to Ozymandias in my opinion, and that's awesome. So salute to his parents. Yeah, I don't know, man. This one is minus 600 to finish. Neither of these guys can be trusted like at all. So this is a huge GPP fight. Obviously, I don't think Ozzy Diaz is worth counting out. I agree with you. I think Ming Yang wins.
I'm gonna even go one step further than that.
You think, all right, so you're looking for a repeat performance of maybe a 1 minute finish. I'm totally down with that. I'm going to have a big part of Ming Yang for sure. I just don't know that Ozzy Diaz is worth counting out. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying don't count him out necessarily. He fought Joe Pyfer, the DWCS. He's fought in LFA and he's fought in Bellator. So no matter his record, which is decent at 9-2, he has experience, like big time experience, not UFC, but right there. So I'm not counting him out. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm still picking Ming Yang. I'm playing a shitload of him, hoping for a repeat of the Brenson Hibeto fight. But yeah, I'll have a little bit of Diaz. I want to know what ownerships are going to be on him, because I think Ming Yang's going to be super high, but I'll be right there with him.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have like 50% Ozzy Diaz because I'm probably going to go all in on this fight and just go 50-50.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm way. This is an all-in fight. I'll break that down first. Ming Yang is 17-6.
Yes,
he has seen a second round twice, and he's never seen a third round. Then
one decision between these guys, 34 fights.
Yeah. Ozzy Diaz, his lone loss this decade was to Joe Pyfer. And like you said, Bellator, LFA. Ming Yang Zhang is can crushing WLF MMA and
Wolf Wars.
He's Wolf Wars, and he was in, and he's where else is he? And he's got, he does have his road to UFC win and the win against Brenson Hibeto. Get it. I know Brenson Hibeto just won, but
yeah, we're not putting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
like okay, Ozzy Diaz, LFA, Bellator, 9-2. We're really, this line's too fucking wide. Is point number one. Just this feels bananas at plus 250. In fact, like if I can just go, where's Ozzy Diaz inside the distance? Plus 285 is a bit high. I mean, Ozzy Diaz round 1 plus 550. Yeah, I'm gonna take
you got what plus 550. Still,
Ozzy Diaz wins round 2 plus 1,000.
Shit.
I might just go put a quarter of a unit on each of these and call it a day.
So are you picking? Are you picking Diaz, or are you just talking about betting it?
I am also going to pick Ozzy Diaz. I really do not like the regional record, and the Brenson Hibeto fight doesn't do enough for me to turn me all the way off of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Ozzy Diaz. I think Ming Yang Zhang I still think he might be a fraud. Now that being said, that is the pick. I'm not playing Diaz in cash. You shouldn't play Zhang in cash. I don't think. And this is one of those where DFS strategy kind of differs from fight picking. I would take a stab on the dog. Yes, I think the line's too wide for betting.
Mm-hmm.
DFS, when we did our back testing and breakdown, perfect example. I think what was the fight I did? Oh, I decided for my 10 lineups I was going to jam all in on Damon Jackson and Jim Miller because we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like grappling upside, 94 points was enough in the optimal. When I say jam all in, I went like 60% Miller, 40% Damon Jackson. Like I'm still overweight on both guys. 50-50. I might not be overweight on Zhang at 50%. I might be like 5% under. He might get to 55% owned. But that's fine. That's not gonna tear me open in GPPs. I'm taking a leverage stand on Diaz. So yeah, let's see if Ming Yang is the real deal. And either way, I'll be fine in GPPs. But I'm taking, and if I'm right about Ozzy Diaz, I got a ton of leverage because he is not going to be high owned. All right, let's talk about, I think, the people's main event here: Volkan Ozdemir, Carlos Blackjag Olberg. Olberg minus 240, Ozdemir plus 205. Fight ends inside the distance minus 190. DraftKings salaries here: Olberg is 9,900, Ozdemir 7,300. I'm all about Olberg in this one. Granted, Volkan keeps getting a little better and making me look a little bad, but because overall I've said I thought he was overrated from the time he had those really weird looking knockouts when he first came into the UFC. I was like, something's not right. And then he lost a few fights, and I'm like, see, this is exactly what I was talking about. And now he's come back and he's won 3 of his last 4. He lost to Nikita Krylov, but he beat Bogdan Guskov, who just gassed. That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Guskov fight was weird. But then a win over Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker can strike. The problem is Olberg, I think, has different kind of power, and he can grapple. He can mix it up better than any of those guys. So I think Olberg's a legit prospect in this division. Like, it would not surprise me if in 12 to 18 months we see Olberg and Pereira. I think he's going to challenge for a title. I don't think
he's going to fight Hill at some point before that. That's the one I can't wait for.
Yeah. So I like Olberg a lot. Ozdemir has the knockout power. Take a stand on that stand, but sprinkle him in GPPs. I would not recommend being underweight to Ozdemir. This is another fight. I'm probably just shy of all in here, like just shy, because there are some scenarios where Olberg is technical. Volkan has shown sub toughness. Like, it's not a guaranteed to finish for a big score, but Olberg can grapple. There's plenty of pass. It's hard for me to 5-star it when I had the Zhang Diaz fight and the Figueiredo Yan fight that I get 2 extra rounds in, that to put them in the same level, and they're all in the same range of prices. So this one is like, I really should ask for the half stars. I would make this a 4.5-star fight to target.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty heavily on the Olberg side. How about for you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Uzdemir's got the much better strength of schedule, but Olberg is being built. This is what a fighter that's being built properly looks like. Nchukwi, Nikolai Negomariano, Ihor Pateria, Dawoon Jung, Alonzo Menefield. We're climbing the rungs one by one. Uzdemir is maybe a rung or 2 above, where we were, but it's still the proper path for Olberg. And I think he can get past Uzdemir here. We've seen Uzdemir look like a terrible nail when he is getting beaten up by strikers for sure. And we've watched Olberg get better and better and better. It's good that he took that loss early on in his career, I think, to Kennedy. It was not a good loss, but it was good that he took it. And yeah, he's been on an absolute tear, whether it's early KOs or even taking Dawoon Jung into deep waters well into the 3rd round. In fact, almost pretty much a buzzer beater submission from the striker Olberg there. So I love what I'm seeing out of him, whether it's short, 1-2 minute fights or 15-minute fights. Uzdemir's definitely a test, but I think it's one he can pass. So I love Olberg. I love the price point at 8,900. Getting Carlos Olberg at less than 9K is looking very, very good this week. So I love him probably in all formats, but mostly a GPP play. But I could see you putting him in there in cash too if you really needed it.
Yeah, I'd play him in cash games. If you need somebody at 9K and that, I'm just looking at that range. I mean, obviously Jan is your first. Yeah, I could play him if you need somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I wouldn't destroy my whole lineup because they landed on him.
Right.
All right, let's talk Kong Wang and Gabriel Fernandez. We hinted at this fight earlier. Wang, we'll go down here, minus 1,000. Fernandez plus 600. Those lines are estimates. Wang is the most expensive fighter on the card at 9,600. Fernandez 6,600. Fight goes to decision is minus 140, and that was my concern, Monk, is that 9,600 minus 140 to see decision. I go, I don't know how much I want to jam in, but where are you?
Well, let me try to alleviate some of that. First of all, Wang Kong looked great. I know it was against Victoria Leonardo. I know she only has 6 fights, but man, something about her, the performance, the short speech, the short but sweet speech on the mic afterwards just sold me immediately. I'm a big Kong fan now for sure. Here's what makes it a you got to play Kong for me. Fernandez is not only probably bad, 1 and 2 in the UFC, but listen to what she's giving up. 5, and these are all 15-minute fights, guys. 5.5 points a minute to Carly Judice is what she gave up. 5.5 to Teresa Bleda. 5 points a minute to Double J Jasmine Jasudavicius. She gave up, let's see, Carly scored 82 points against her. 82 points in 3 rounds. This is a women's flyweight fight, you guys. Fernandez won that fight with the bonus. She got 63. So the loser outscored her by almost 20 points there. She allowed 112 to Teresa Bleda, and she allowed 105 to Jasmine. This woman just throws points at her opponents. Now she's fighting a what appears to be a complete finisher and a pretty well put together flyweight in Wang Kong. So I love it this week. I give me Wang Kong 9,600. I'm putting her in all variances of lineups. And yeah, I don't really want Fernandez at all, but I don't go zero on anyone. So 2, 3, 5% tops is what we'll have there.
Yeah, when you go 20 lineups, feel free to go zero.
Well, 20, yeah. I mean 150s though. I'm not going zero.
I still do.
Yeah,
I still do on occasion.
This one is worth the argument.
Yeah, like everything you just said. If you can fit her, fine. I do think Lona Kavanaugh's got probably some more upside. The problem is I said I don't like Fang Zhaokang. I'm picking it against Ming Yang, and then Piotr Yan, who, spoiler alert, I'm going to pick against him too. So, sure, go ahead, play all the Wang you can fit.
My only concern is we haven't seen her offer back. Fernandez did land 2 takedowns there. It's a very small concern, but it is a concern nonetheless.
What does Wang do on her back? Just lay there, take it.
Show me what that Wang do.
Wow, we're gonna get canceled. You know what? No, Geek runs this. Yeah,
leave it in.
Geek cannot.
Wang joke.
There is no way that Geek can get mad at us for those, based on the things he has said in the past.
Very true.
Got a lot of rope we can hang ourselves with. Going by that logic, I gotta adjust myself here. I think I'm slinking down too much on this card because
it'll do that.
Improve the posture here. All right. Let's talk Muslim Salikov and Song Kanan. Salikov minus 180. Song is plus 155. DraftKings salaries on this one. Salikov is 8,500. Song is 7,700. Fight goes to decision is minus 130. I think I say this once a week, and it's just full transparency. There's one fight in every card that I just go, I am having a really hard time reading this.
This is definitely the one.
And this, Muslim Salikov is 40. Song Kanan is fight old. Sometimes Salikov grapples. There's never really any volume, which I could say the same thing about Song, but there's power. It's two guys who are low volume but high power, and Salikov can grapple. Overall, look, I ended up picking Song Kanan, but I'm going to be underweight overall, and just hope our finish comes in the third round. If there is one, we just go to a decision. I think there's going to be a technical decision here, but both guys have power. It's one of those. There's other fights I'm going to jam into a ton of lineups, and this is going to just be underweight to both. And it's 50-50 to end in a finish, really. So there's some risk there, but I don't have a great read on it for the reasons I had mentioned. I think I actually trust Muslim Salikov a little bit less, which is hard to do because I don't trust Song Kanan at all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe tiebreaker being they're fighting in Song's backyard, but that's all I got here. So I'm taking Song Kanan. It is not. If you have a stronger take on it, go for it. Lock in your lineups that way. I'm sorry, I can't help you here. I got some other strong takes. So this is one that is admittedly perplexing me. Monk, and it didn't sound like Monk's going to be able to help much more either. So, yeah, hopefully you hit the like button earlier. And if you didn't, hit it now because we're funny and honest. You know what? We're honest. I'm not going to try to sell you. I'm not going to try and sell you horse shit. This one's rough.
Yeah, I agree. I picked Song Kanan, but I'm not confident. I just think I could see him KOing Salikov late, like you said. That's all. Not that I'm saying it's going to happen, but it could happen. But his wins are terrible. Ricky Glenn, Rolando Bedoya in his last 5. Both these guys are 2 and 3 in their last 5. So Salikovs aren't much better. The name recognition is better with Ponzinibbio and then Andre Fialho, but who's not knocking out Fialho? So what I wrote is it's likely a Muslim Salikov decision, but don't count out Song Kanan just in case, with the salary. What are we at here? 77, so it's not terrible. It's not great. But I think it's worth a little bit for him there, especially with that late power that he has. So I'm picking Song Kanan, even though it's probably a Muslim Salikov decision, but one of those scored 53 points last time. So yeah, I'm not too keen on that.
All right, let's talk about. I think. I mean, I gave away my pick earlier for the main event, but I think both the co-main and main got legitimate cases for the underdog here, both underdogs. And one is maybe more controversial than the other, but let's talk about them. I think these are interesting fights for DFS. Yan Xiaonan and Tabitha Ricci is your co-main event. Yan minus 200, coming off of, I guess, as much credit as you can possibly get in a loss against losing to the champion Weili Zhang. Tabitha Ricci plus 170. By the way, 3-round co-main event. We've had a couple fives mixed in recently. Minus 350 goes to decision here. That instantly makes Ricci a cash game play because Ricci is... Where's my pricing here? 7,400, whereas Yan Xiaonan is 8,800. Who's first for this fight?
I believe I am.
All right, take it away.
I assume you picked Ricci. I picked Ricci as maybe not.
I did not, but I came really, really close.
Yeah, I picked Ricci. It's going to be a good fight. I'm pretty sure this goes 15 minutes. Yan Xiaonan should be the better striker. Ricci does have some volume in almost all of her fights. Actually, she's been over 5 strikes a minute, at least in her last 5, with the exception of Tisha Pennington. But she'll have the grappling advantage, I do believe. I mean, we did see Yan Xiaonan land 3 takedowns against Zhang Weili, and she landed 2 against Marina Rodriguez, but that's not too difficult there. Yeah, I don't know. I just think this one's close, and the salary difference makes it exactly what you said. I got to play some of Ricci. I'm fine with playing some of her in cash. Her wins are okay. She scored 122 in a win against Penne, 86 in a decision, 102 in a decision against Hill, 74. So she's kind of up and down all over the place. I think at 7,400, though, she has a good chance to 10x that salary in a decision. So I'm going to take a risk and pick Ricci. Yan Xiaonan decision is not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just not sure how that's going to score. So it all depends on how Yan Xiaonan looks in her striking right out the gate. So you're probably going to know immediately if you're Ricci, if you went too much on Ricci or not. So I'm not too interested in this for DFS, except for the Ricci side.
Yeah, the Ricci side does have more DFS upside. That being said, she knocked down Zhang Weili. She knocked down and out Jessica Andrade.
That's true.
Mackenzie Dern took her down twice. But really, we all knew it was going to be about Jan's takedown defense after, Carlos Esparza beat the ever-loving dog piss out of her after taking her down 3 times. Like, that was the best Carlos Esparza probably ever looked in the cage, was the Yan Xiaonan fight. Like that. I mean, I know she was a champion, but that was an impressive performance late in her career. Rodriguez, striker only. And Dern, she won a majority decision, but got taken down a couple times, and then the Andrade and Zhang fights. Tabitha Ricci, it's got 38% takedown accuracy. She landed 1 against Tisha Pennington, 3 against Angela Hill. That's not that impressive. Where I came close is she took down Jillian Robertson 3 times. Robertson's a strong grappler, but is Robertson more willing to accept the position because she's a BJJ black belt and they're going to play? Maybe.
For sure.
Yan is going to sell out to stop the takedown. And I didn't think that Ricci's, this is a big step up for Ricci, and Yan looked great last time out, fighting at home. I think there's something to be said for that. I think she's going to be able to stop the takedown and hurt Ricci coming in. I think there's sneaky upside here. It's not a good fight to target, but it's one of those where I'm not going to fade Yan Xiaonan, even over 3 rounds, because she can. When I wrote these this morning, I was like, Ricci's got the DFS upside and I still think she does. If she wins, it's grappling based, submission based, and Yan is probably a decision. And the more I sit here and talk about it, the more I think, man, if Ricci can't get a takedown early, is she going to be able to stay conscious? And this is what I'm struggling with. I may end up with more Yan throughout the week. But Ricci is a live dog because there's the hole in Jan's game, and we are kind of assuming because even just the last time out, Wei Li Zhang took her down a bunch. So I'm kind of extrapolating that Jan has showed improvement. She's going to keep doing that, and Ricci's a step down in competition. But the path is there for the dog and Ricci. So I guess I've kind of talked in circles a little bit, but the fight breakdown here is that is Ricci's path to victory. I'm still going to pick Jan for DFS. The more I think about it, the more Jan I want to have because I don't think it's going to take that much to get over the field. She won't be very high owned.
True.
I'll probably end up a little bit over on Ricci too. I have to look at ownership. If Ricci's going to be 40% owned, I'll probably go under. So it's going to be an ownership-based play. And I do think you're deciding between Ricci. You might even... I definitely think you play Davison Figueiredo in cash, and then you're either playing Ricci or Meng Shi. And it's kind of what the rest of your lineup looks like. But of those 3 plays, 2 of them should be in your cash lineup. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the main event. Before we break down the main event, do me a favor, everyone. I've asked a few times, but hit the like button, share with your friends, drop a comment with who you are picking in the main event. If you don't drop the comment, how is the YouTube universe going to know? And if you're watching somewhere else, head on over to YouTube, give us a like there, and appreciate you guys on all of the podcast platforms. Here we go. Piotr Jan Davison Figueiredo. Jan, minus 300. Figueiredo, plus 250. Fight goes to decision is minus 150. DraftKings salaries. Jan is 9,000. Figueiredo is 7,200. When I first saw the matchup, I thought, is Jan going to be priced down because he's only won 2 of his last 5 fights? And the answer is no. Vegas smart enough to know those 3 losses are to the last 3 champions: Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili. Okay, fine. The line here is just it's too wide. Like, Figgy's got a pretty clear path in the grappling. Now I know it's Aljo and Merab. Figgy can grapple too. He can hold down Piotr Jan. I don't think he's going to have gas tank issues like he did. I mean, he went 5 rounds multiple times with Brendan Moreno. Did he slow down in those fights? A little bit. That weight cut to 125 was literally killing him. I know literally is overused, but that was a disgusting weight cut. His gas tank is going to be better at 135. He can grapple. He has the advantage there. He's got a really clear-cut advantage. And we've seen Piotr Jan hurt in the feet against Sean O'Malley. I know it's Sean O'Malley, but Figgy's got pop. I know it's 125 pop, but it's pop. Like, what did he do in his first fight at 125? Was
135?
135. Yeah, he
Rob
knocked
Font.
down. Right, and that was 4 takedowns. Subbed Cody Garbrandt and knocked down. Yet I know not out, but he knocked down Marlon Vera. You knocked down Marlon Vera. You got fucking hammers in your fist. And that was at 35. I think he's a legit problem in this division. I'm going to go ahead and take him. I've always thought Piotr Jan was just a little bit overrated. I know he put on the performance of a lifetime against Jose Aldo, right? I think that was the best he's ever looked. I was an aging Jose Aldo who was a little disinterested at the time. Then you go back. I mean, he's got Teruto Ishihara. I'm going to go through all of his UFC wins. Ready? His whole UFC career here. And tell me you don't think this guy's a little bit overrated. Got to start in a big run, clearly. Teruto Ishihara. Jin Su-san. Douglas Silva de Andrade. I think that's a pretty good win, actually. John Dodson. He got a decision, even though he was outstruck by 50 strikes in that fight. Jimmy Rivera, and I think he won that fight. He had 2 knockdowns. It was a decision, but Rivera had some chin problems late in his career, but fine. Good wins. Uriah Faber in 2019. Okay, sorry, not impressed anymore. Jose Aldo. I think not the Jose Aldo you think of when you say Jose Aldo in 2020. Then you got lost to Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, I know it was the DQ, but remember, Was he going to take over late in that fight? Sure, but Aljo beat him up early and then was going to gas. Was going to gas. Let's clearly beat Corey Sandhagen. Really good competitive fight, but fine. Then lost to Aljo again. Everybody loves to shit on Aljo. So if you're going to shit on Aljo, you should probably shit on Petr Yan, right? Lost to him twice. Split decision to Sean O'Malley, where he was diving for legs. Do not do that against Davison Figueiredo. He's not going to do that. And then lost to Merab, got taken down a bunch. Not saying he's not good. Clearly a top 5 guy, but I don't know. I don't think he's championship caliber anymore. And I think he got kind of fortunate to go on the run he was at. I think it was right place, right time. Maybe I'll get a bunch of shit for that. I think Figueiredo is a real problem in this division. The 125-pound champ coming up. There's the takedown holes. If Figueiredo decides to stand and trade with Petr Yan, though, yeah, Yan has power. He's got plenty of knockdowns in his career. Really solid boxing. But I think in that fight, when they're standing, I still think minus 300 Yan is too wide. I still don't think it's that wide. And you can tell me then they're going to grapple. Well, Figueiredo now, in my mind, he's the guy I'm going to take. I think Yan can get taken down and controlled here. Give me Davis and Figueiredo to spring the upset. I think I'm higher on it than pretty much anybody you're going to hear, and maybe I will look like crap afterwards, but a stand I'm going to take. That being said, because it's 5 rounds, I don't know. I might take a real strong stand and go like 50, 60% Figueiredo and then like 25% Yan. So I'll be like half the field. And that is a aggressive stand for GPPs. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm on the Figueiredo side, and God bless me. Just the read I have, and we'll see what happens. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Yan side. The one fight you didn't mention was the last fight, Song Yadong.
Oh, that's right. I didn't.
He looked really good in that one. And Song Yadong was, he was on quite the streak. Yan landed 6.6 strikes a minute on that one. 2 takedowns, a little bit of control time as well. He looked pretty good. It was a very nice rebound off of, going 1-4 in his previous 5 before that. Figueiredo, I agree. The betting line is too wide. This is probably going to decision. But for DraftKings purposes, I don't know how much Figueiredo I want. If he's not going to get a finish, then, I mean, what have we been doing? Decision against Rob Font, 76 points. Decision against Chito Vera with a knockdown and 2 takedowns, 75 points. A sub win, a finish win over Cody Garbrandt, 88 points. Like, we're not doing any kind of, there's no striking volume. If he can't get his takedowns going, then there's not a ton of points coming from that. He generally doesn't get a lot of control time. So how is he going to score exactly? Unless he knocks out Petr Yan.
I mean, here's my counter argument. He's got 2 extra rounds.
That's true, and that's why I love this fight in cash. I will be stacking this up because I think it does go 25 minutes. And I love it for cash for that reason. But for GPPs, I mean, yeah, at 7,400, I'm definitely playing some Figueiredo, but he's barely 10x'd that potential salary in his last two out of his last 3 fights. So I'm not really like super duper interested outside of cash. But yeah, GPPs. I'll play some Petr Yan, I'll play some Figueiredo, but I'm not really looking too hard into this one for GPP fights, to be completely honest. More of a cash game play for me, and I think I picked Yan outright. So, but very close fight. I'm rooting for Davis and Figueiredo. I cannot stand Petr Yan, but it is what it is.
Then hopefully my read is right. It's one of those more aggressive stands, and we'll see if I look stupid. And I'm okay looking stupid. I've won 2 weeks in a row. I guess
Gall last week. So if we're talking about who's looking stupid.
Yeah, you were all aggressive about Mickey Gall too.
I know. And then 1 minute later, I was like, oh, it's Mickey Gall.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's what we got for UFC Macau Killshot MMA podcast. But don't go anywhere yet. We got to do kill shots. Kill shot, if you're not familiar, welcome to the show. Hit the like button. It is an under-owned play. You expect to win you a tournament. Don't want to go chalk. Don't want to go main event. Can be a favorite if it's going to be under-owned, but a low-owned play. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, I don't like a ton of them. and the ones I do like are in the main and co-main event, or at least the main event, I should say. Yeah, and the co-main. So I'm just gonna throw a dart and say, give me Ozzy Diaz at 7,100 in the GPP special.
I am more, so I'm going to double down on that. Mine also is Ozzy Diaz, but if you want some differentiation, I also like Naim Jargal, Tumen Dembarel. But Diaz was going to be my number one play. I was going to go Diaz 1, Tumen Dembarel 2. So those are kill shots for you. That's what we got. Now we are wrapped up for the Killshot MMA podcast. Monk, anything before we get out of here?
That is it. Either stay up late or get up early, guys. It starts at 2 a.m. Central Time, 3 a.m. Eastern. So I'll be watching the replay for sure. No commercials that way as well.
I will have my coffee. I'll be up to after I take my daughter to ballet. I'll come back home and I'll be able to watch a few fights. So that'll be
actually this might be the best way to do it. Actually, just watch each fight, because on ESPN they're really good about that. Not about much else, but about that. They separate the fights and it's just the fight. So you won't have to see like the BK commercial 500 times, because they only play 4 commercials in 8 hours on a loop, and it's fucking mind numbing. So maybe this will be better.
Yeah. So we got we are off next week. Clearly, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. The next card after that is UFC 310. That is on my birthday.
Nice.
Pantoja Asakura. I am traveling, but I will be here. We have to go. We have to do that Tuesday. I leave. I think I'm on a plane. Actually, let's do a little bit of scheduling here on said podcast. I don't remember what day of the week we're leaving. I'm leaving Wednesday, so Tuesday we gotta be nice and tidy with this UFC 310 podcast, and then the week after, December 13th, is Covington Buckley is a new main event, and then we are off until the new year. So 3 more fight cards that Monk had mentioned. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody next week. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Monk, pleasure as always. I'll see you in a couple weeks.